So give you a couple minutes about myself. My name is Avco Joe. I got a nickname Avco Joe because I bought an Avco from 1978 and I ended up rebuilding the whole thing. So I'm not a stranger to motorhomes, Class A or Class C's. Journeyman lineman, travel. Bought the RV because maybe someday if I have to go anywhere for work, I can live in comfort. The previous campers that we've owned, the Avco was one of them. I got that for the same reason, in case I ever had to travel for work. I'd be able to do it self-sufficiently. So I'm very mechanically inclined. As a journeyman lineman, we come into all situations. We have to improvise to work out. I've been a backyard mechanic since I was 13. I was a mechanic. I was a diesel mechanic. I was a truck driver. I was a roofer. I worked for a company called International Metallizing that flew me all over the world to do specialty projects for them. Worked at the Panama Canal. I've done a lot of stuff. So my review of the Entrada RV is not because I'm biased in any way against the company. It's because I think that we got junk, more or less. So I'm paid heavily for it. So I have a review coming up about the Entrada. I'm probably not going to touch on some points with this video. I'm going to touch on some of them that the other one we missed. So, like in the beginning, this door in the parking lot, we had to put these magnets on, this here and up here, and then we put opposite magnets here and here, because right off the bat, the rod that goes from there to underneath the bottom of the door got ripped off right off the bat, which kind of sucked. Some other stuff that I didn't mention in the other video. Got a creeper here that probably should be mentioned. Like, here's some of the other stuff, like the welds. Like, there's no support welds here for the camper. They didn't, they painted some of it, like they half-ass painted some of the rails, only because I complained about it. So General RV kind of like just threw a coat of spray paint under here to make it look good. Kind of childish, if you ask me. You have to get a child to do it, I guess. And then here's another gap. No, I would have filled that in with the weld. I mean, that's just ugly. You know, you just got a little thing there, and that's it. That's not going to go down the road. After a couple years, that's coming apart. You know, they didn't paint any of this. All the under chassis, it's all sooner or later it's going to rust. You know, look at this, one weld right there. They didn't do the other side. You know, like Amazing. Amazing what these guys get away with. Then again, I bought it, right? I didn't paint this. None of this was painted. You know? Rust. Brand new camper. Not properly coated. You know? And that's got nothing to do with Ford. You know? I don't know. Anybody who buys a camper nowadays is nuts. So I feel. Of course, I fall into that category now, don't I? Then again, I play with electricity all day long. Nobody ever expects you to crawl underneath one of these things when you go to buy them. I think that when I was down in Harrisburg before we agreed to buy this, I looked underneath it. Now they came back and they painted this. General RV did. But I mean, I had to complain about it first, and then they didn't do the whole job. I'm going to end up doing it myself. Like I said, I like the fact that it's a Ford. You know, there's a couple other things here that bothered me too. So where is it? Oh, on the electrical receptacle. I asked them to put some silicone around it because it's a electrical area. So they didn't do. They only did one side. They put a thin coat on the yeah, not even enough to seal it, and they didn't do the top. And they just did a little bit on the bottom. That's an electrical connection. That should have a more sealant on it, I think. Okay, so this is my review of Indiana's East-West RV Class C Entrada. We've had this camper picked it up in April. So we've had it one camping trip. It spent almost 8 weeks at the shop. Nothing was fixed. So, I mean, you can tell where this review's going already, and I'm gonna walk you through it. I'll give you my good points also, because I don't want to be totally negative about the camper, but we've had a lot of problems with it, and we've had a lot of problems with General RV service, and it seems like when you call Indiana, you can't get anybody on the phone, but they have no problem emailing you back. They just don't want to talk to you. So I'm a little old school. I like to talk to somebody. I like to hear some confirmation. I like to know that somebody's taking care of it. But I don't think Indiana's taking care of anything anymore. I think they're pumping out these RVs as fast as they can with the competent people that they have. I mean, like, you pull up their website and they talk about integrity and quality, and I just don't see it. So let's first go to our first problem. Oh, I do like the fact that it's a Ford chassis. At least you know you're going to get 100,000 or 200,000 miles out of it, maybe even 250,000 miles out of it before you have any problems. But that being said, my first issue was it doesn't have a spare tire. They expect you to, like, not be able to get stuck on the highway, call for roadside assistance, which some of us don't like. Could be dangerous. No spare tire. This back door right here, before it even left the shop, it was leaking. It had a pool of water underneath. They told me it was because they washed it. 2 days later it rained. 4 inches of rain in there. we went down to Virginia on our first camping trip. After we picked this up, this whole paneling came apart. And then, well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that when we can. They did a very sloppy job in the repairs. They left a gap up here. I mean, I could have done a lot better with some hand tools and some glue from Home Depot. Staples are still missing, but this whole panel wasn't glued or stapled at the factory, which is why it came apart going down Route 95. That was very upsetting to my wife. Our biggest issue is the slide. The slide, when we got back from camping, aside from the panel, the slide wouldn't go back out. It just stopped working. So we sent it out to General RV in Harrisburg, the people of quality, and now it's stuck in the out position. I just don't understand it. It's supposed to be brand new, and it's supposed to be not a problem, but it is. So in the beginning, I mentioned that the slides, before we talked to General RV, I said the slide rollers were off. It didn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. And I said, check out the rollers. Make sure that they're all touching the slide so it's balanced and it's not working too hard. Well, it's underneath, if you come out here, that. Underneath the slide, if you can see that underneath, I started digging a groove right into it. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then it put an indentation there. So this isn't even 5 months old, and already the slide is digging into the rollers. Even after I asked General RV to check it out, they sent some pictures to Indiana, and they said, oh, well, as long as the slide's moving, you know, no big deal. It's okay. Just send it. So then these rollers don't look too bad. And then we got down here. Well, they started digging into this one here. But down here, looked like it got off track. Started digging into the side of it. You know? So, I didn't like the fact that, oh man, gotta give me the keys. So I didn't like the fact that they probably could have used another roller here to balance out a little bit more. There's a huge gap between this roller and that roller, you know? Seeing that the heavier part is the bigger part of the slide. I don't know if they're building this for real world people or not, because I don't think they are sometimes. So inside here, they don't really have a composite a composite hole for the Water City water connection. I guess they expect you to bring it up through the poop chute there. So I drilled another hole so the hose will come up and through, so it's separate from the potty hose. It's got lots of storage. We like that about it. Rides down the road real nice too. Although this is probably like a 1,700 pound slide. It does pull to the left a little bit going down the road. Our biggest thing is this slim rack slide out system. I don't think the motors are big enough for this slide, personally. That's my opinion. You know, our biggest complaint is that it seems like we're trying to get some help. And there's a girl who's out at General RV who's doing the best she can. I understand her job. She can't do it all. She can only do what she can. She's a nice girl too. So I ended up sealing the door myself with some caulk because it was leaking like a sieve, you know. All in all, it's not a bad camper. I mean, if it didn't have a slide, it would probably be a lot better. I mean, we liked the bunk beds. We liked a lot about the camper, but these issues with these campers coming through with stuff that are falling off of it, I mean, and not working is unacceptable when you spend $100,000 on something. It's just heartbreaking to know that you sunk money into something. Like, we're into this for $25,000 already. In the beginning, this door here stuck really hard. The shower leaked. It was leaking bad. I, in the beginning, took a boatload of silicone and sealed it up to the point where it stopped leaking. Down there in the corner, you can see that. Then General RV, they came back and they put another coat of sealing on it. I don't know. I see these reviews on some of these campers about how great they are. Well, if they're so great, why are they falling apart on the first camping trip, and then you spend a couple of months in the shop, miss out on all your camping trips over the summer, then you got another one coming up and the slide won't work again. Kind of heartbreaking, especially when you dump so much money into something. So, but my wife and I are so upset over this whole thing, I'd sooner have them take this back than to deal with it anymore. That's how we personally feel about it. So, I like that it's a Ford. I've seen better campers in the past come out of Indiana. I've always had a camper. This one, I don't know what's going to go wrong with it next. It just seems like one problem after another so far. Anyway, that's my review of the Entrada. Have a nice day.